place? Maybe on the other side?
Somebody screams. Then a second inhuman scream fills the room. More books fall. The camera whirls upward. A black shape flies off the balcony and crashes into Jeremy. Cut to Maggie sliding down the ladder, more books falling behind her. Cut to the bulbs in the chandelier exploding, leaving everyone in darkness. The library door creaks open and the camera whirls again to capture the black shape racing through before the door slams shut behind it. Cut to everyone looking upward, as if waiting for more falling books.
Wow. In all my time on this show, I have to say, without a doubt, that's the eeriest thing I've ever experienced. How are you two feeling?
I always thought this show was faked, but that was the real deal.
There's no other explanation.
1. If Uncle AJ hadn't screwed up Thanksgiving, I would never have learned how to haunt houses. I pulled up at 4 sharp, just behind Aunt B and just ahead of my parents, my hatchback tiny between their SUVs. We parked on the lawn since the driveway was already full. We're a punctual family. I recognized all the vehicles except a spotless new Rivian, which had to mean my cousin Jeremy had decided to grace us with his presence. He came in for a holiday every few years so everyone could tell him how great he was. I reached into my back seat for the case of Youngling I'd bought for the potluck, only to realize I'd forgotten it at my apartment. A bunch of random plastic grocery bags littered the footwell, so I stuffed those into a larger, reusable bag to make it look like I was carrying something. Once I got into the house, nobody would remember what I'd contributed. I didn't have a signature dish like Aunt Dell's pies or Uncle Gary's green bean casserole. My parents and I hadn't seen each other for a couple of months since I'd started working nights, and we exchanged one-armed hugs when we got close enough. Dad carried his fiddle case in his left, and my mother hefted a vat filled with her version of Oma's stuffing, but even without our hands full, we're a one-armed hug family. The brick path had sunken in various spots, and now those spots were filled with icy slush. With my eyes down to avoid wiping out in the dimming light, I didn't notice the bottlenecked crowd gathered on the porch until we'd reached the step below them. AJ's not answering, said Aunt B. We've tried the door and his phone. All the lights are off, too. She didn't sound overly concerned. His car wasn't there, so he probably wasn't lying dead on the floor inside. She turned to me. Mara, you didn't see him down at the apartments, did you? I'd been living at his little 6-unit rental property for a few years now. Reduced rent in exchange for mowing the lawn and doing light maintenance and letting my neighbors in when they locked themselves out. I shook my head. He hadn't come around in weeks. Aunt Dell gestured in the direction of my grandmother's house on the other side of the tree line. Gary's picking up Mom on his way, so we told him to grab AJ's spare key while he was there. Everyone stood around, pretending their Tupperware and casseroles and crockpots weren't getting heavier the longer we waited. Jeremy cradled the biggest bottle of red wine I'd ever seen. My dad asked if it was like those novelty checks they give lottery winners, and Jeremy wine-splained to us about bottle sizing and said it was a Jeroboam. Quantity over quality, someone joked, but Jeremy looked annoyed. Trust me, he said. It's a very nice wine. The production company sent it to celebrate Haunt Sweet Home's renewal. I'm just sharing the love. To which his own mother replied, never too rich to appreciate something free, which might have been either an insult or a compliment. It was impossible to tell. It was cold enough to see our breath. We all stamped our feet and pretended we weren't chilly, and collectively perked up when headlights bobbed up the rutted drive. Uncle Gary pulled his pickup onto the lawn and all the way to the steps before he hopped out. He ran around to the truck's open bed and grabbed a white plastic step stool, which he threw in front of the passenger side. Oma opened her door and eyed the dismount. After a pause, she descended carefully, like a queen, resting one twisted hand on Gary's arm and the other on the door. I hate this fucking truck, she said. It's too tall. It's so fancy you're afraid to get it dirty, and it isn't even strong enough to pull a trailer. Fair point, someone muttered. Why does a dentist need to pull a trailer? Someone else asked. Gary transferred Oma's hand to the railing before hauling himself up into his truck and pulling away, splattering the lower steps and his mother with mud, possibly to prove a point about getting dirty. He left furrows that AJ was sure to be pissed about whenever he finally graced us with an appearance. Aunt Dell helped.